Whether you like a mosque or don't like a mosque, you don't have to go. There's already another mosque down there within 4 blocks of the World Trade Center. There's porno places. There's fast food places. I mean, it's a vibrant community. It's New York.
Come along and be my party down. Come along and be my party down.
Pause the music. Now you're listening to a deranged human being. A billionaire? Apparently, yes. The mayor of New York? Apparently, yes. But a man whose thoughts are so deranged that he is a danger not only to himself but to the entire nation. Here is a man who in one breath not only insults Muslims, but says he's supporting Muslims because a mosque is just like a porno parlor or a fast food outlet. But everyone's entitled to have a fast food outlet or a pornography or go to a mosque. You don't like it, don't go. You don't like it, you don't go. That's all. You don't have to go. He doesn't even understand what he is saying. So he goes on a comedian show who doesn't write his own jokes, a comedian who went off the air when his smart writers went on strike, and then the comedian says something that also shows a drug-addled mind in clip 3.
Because I was thinking, and again, I don't know if you're going to support this or not, I would like to build a synagogue, reform, in St. Patrick's Cathedral.
If you talk to the Archbishop, he might be
you wonder why there's anti-Semitism, John? John, you wonder why Jews like you cause anti-Semitism, John? You can't figure it out? Jon Stewart, Mayor Bloomberg, 2 prizes of the Jewish religion. 2 superb prizes of the Jewish religion. The man comes up with what he thinks is a parable to show you what happens when you use drugs for too long. His dumb writer writes, I was thinking I'd like to build a synagogue in St. Patrick's Cathedral and press the laugh line button. Now, not only is this idiotic and illogical, it's not funny. It is the product of inbreeding. It is only the product of inbreeding. How could you compare a joke to build a synagogue in St. Patrick's Cathedral to building a mosque on the ruins of the World Trade Center, which are ruined by Muslim fanatics? Are you implying the Jews want to blow up the St. Patrick's Cathedral, John? Is that your idea of interfaith dialogue? Now you understand why he's only a comedian and why the mayor is only a mayor. Now you understand the 2 things. Now you understand why your children get the kind of education they get, because they actually rely upon a comedy for their ideas. Here, believe me, you haven't heard the last of this, because every day more sound seeps out about the imam. Listen, for example, to what he said about the U.S.
Definition of terrorism. The military historian, the American military historian Caleb Carr, in his excellent book called The Lessons of Terror, defines terrorism as the targeting of civilian non-combatants in order to achieve specific political objectives. And he points out that every country in the world has done this from the time of the Romans.
So this is Imam Rauf now saying we're a terrorist nation. And now listen to clip 8. You'll hear about the peaceful imam that loves Bloomberg, and Bloomberg loves him. Listen to 8.
The perception in the Arab world, in the Muslim world, is that Western states have engaged in this definition of terrorism. That the desire to have or to achieve certain political objectives has made them allow or made them not feel troubled by the loss of innocent Muslim lives, calling it, damage collateral to their political objectives.
All right, shut this liar off. I can't take it anymore. I may as well be listening to Goebbels with a Muslim British accent. This lying SOB is lying from the top of his brain to the bottom of his dirty little feet. He's saying that we killed more Muslims than anyone else. He knows nothing about Muslims killing Muslims around the globe. He knows nothing about the fear that moderate, middle-of-the-road Muslims fear from people like him and those he claims he is not a part of. Ask the Algerians what they think about radical Islam. Ask the Moroccans what they think about radical Islam. Ask the Lebanese about what Muslims have done to Christians and to each other. You ask anybody about the number of Muslims killed on this planet, and you will come to understand that more Muslims have died at the hand of other Muslims than from all the Christians put together in the last century and this century combined. But that would require thought, that would require knowledge of history, that wouldn't require a pot-smoking comedian getting a quick, dirty laugh with a mayor who doesn't even deserve his name being spoken again. And so it's a contemptible situation that we live in, when Goebbels Jr. is allowed to come to this country and build a temple in this country, a temple against the will of the 70% of the people. A temple to what? A temple to division? A temple to hatred? A temple to drive one religion against another? Because that's what he has done, with a little help from Bloomberg and the stupid left-wing comedians in the American media. That's your Mr. Rauf. And so there it is. He talks about terrorism, and he says that we are the terrorist nation. And you know, when you have an impasse like this, it's called war. When one side says you're the terrorist and the other side says you're the terrorist, eventually what happens is the two sides go to war. And yet we're told now that the man spreading that gospel of hatred against America is a man of peace, a man who wants to bring the races together. We're told his wonderful wife, Daisy Khan, who is as uncompromising as they come. She won't submit to anyone's opinion. It's only her opinion. I want that mosque, and I want it built there, she says, and you're not going to stop me. And anyone who stops me is a bigot. Anyone who opposes the mosque is an anti-Semite on steroids. Anyone who opposes the mosque is un-American, she says. Therefore, Nancy Pelosi jumps in, the genius herself, and she says that we should conduct an investigation of all those who oppose the mosque. So the Democrat Party now joins the fanatics and says that they want a McCarthy-like witch hunt of all those who oppose the mosque. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very important case. I realize it's the end of August. I realize many of you don't want to hear it anymore. It's Friday afternoon. It's Friday evening. It's Monday morning. It's Tuesday afternoon. Wherever the show is played or whenever it's played, you have to understand how important this is. And one of the reasons this is still ongoing is because it is not over yet. It came out today, as I said to you earlier, that these people are in it not only to promote hatred, not only to go back to their home countries and show a great trophy of victory that they built a mosque literally on the ashes of 9/11, but now they're going to use public funds to do it. Turns out that they found a way through Bloomberg to use public funds to build the Ground Zero Victory Mosque. The Muslim Center, they're calling it. Now it's a center. Planned near the site of the World Trade Center, could qualify for tax-free financing, a spokesmouth for Bloomberg said today. And his spokesmouth is willing to consider approving the public subsidy. The Democratic comptroller spokesman, Scott Sieber, another super prize of humanity, said that they support the project. It says, if it turns out to be financially feasible, and if they can demonstrate an ability to pay off the bonds and comply with the laws concerning tax-exempt financing, we'd certainly consider it, said Mayor Bloomberg's spokesmouth Sieber. Now, the mosque's backers hope to raise a total of $70 million in tax-exempt debt in order to build the mosque. Tax laws allow such funding, listen to this, for religiously affiliated nonprofits if they can prove the facility will benefit the general public and their religious activities are funded separately. The general public. Now, wouldn't the general public include Christians, some of whom eat pork? Wouldn't the general public include the large Chinese community in the lower Manhattan who love pork and other such products? I would say that if these fine examples of humanity who are behind the mosque would agree to permit a Chinese deli that hang various products from the butcher shop in their products in the public center, I would say it would benefit the community at large. Did you hear what I just said? Tax laws allow such funding for religiously affiliated nonprofits if they can prove the facility will benefit the general public and that their religious activities are funded separately, separation of church and state. So in other words, how can you justify, how can you state for a moment that this mosque, which is being masked inside a community center, a public center, will benefit the general public, when in fact you know that the very same Muslims who are behind this would say no to the sale of any pork or pork products in such a general public center. So now you understand that there's big money behind all of this. We showed you and disclosed on the Savage Nation this week the connection to the Middle East that Bloomberg has. His expansion of the Bloomberg empire in the Arab Muslim world goes on. This is all tied into his desire to placate his friends in the Middle East. And where is Bloomberg today? His story is on Michael Savage from the New York Post. He had nothing better to do, that now he's done such a good job of dividing America, but to fly in his private jet up to Martha's Vineyard to go golfing with the other genius, Pinocchio. I'll be right back.
Savage.